Call to order the Board of Zoning Appeals, June the 29th. The quorum been present. We'll move ahead. Just one quick item. I'd like to just say happy birthday to Alderman Waldron.
Thank you.
Yes, appreciate it. And with that, we have a little sample for you just to take a look at if you don't mind.
It's 29th, isn't it? It's 29th?
29 and old.
Yeah, 29 and old. That's right.
Gonna have a gambling too.
You gonna sing to him? Oh. Uh-oh. I believe it's the 21st anniversary of your 29th.
Yeah.
That don't say 29.
50.
All righty.
Look at that.
That doesn't say 29.
Thank you.
All right.
Bring it up.
Good day. Happy
Happy
Happy birthday,
birthday.
Dennis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank y'all.
Okay, with that being done with, we'll move on with the approval of the minutes for the March 30th, 2010 regular meeting. If you review the minutes and give me your comments, suggestions, or changes, please.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve as submitted.
We have a motion to accept as submitted. Do we have a second? Second. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It is carried. New business. Building material variance, underground electric variance, and street tree variance in the South Walden Road Overlay District for proposed truck dealership to be located at New Pool Road, tax map 17, parcel 38 and 40. Property zoned I2, property owned by Patriot LLC.
Yes, sir, Mr. Coates. This is three variance requests for the Knockrado Volvo dealership to be located at the end of New Paul Road. This is the first of the three variances deal with the exterior requirements. With the new South Waldron Overlay District, the exterior requirements call for 80% brick, stone, or stucco on the exterior, on the front, and the Planning Commission, the way it lays within the overlay district, the Planning Commission has the ability to determine what's acceptable for the sides. This variance is requesting that 51% of the building front is to be the DEFS, which is it's a direct exterior finish system, and the remaining 49% is to be windows, trim, and doors. And I have some pictures here that kind of show. This is the zoning map, of course, in the overlay district where that lies. And here's some renderings provided by the applicant, just showing the proposed exterior and how it's intended to look. As you can see, most of it is, there's a lot of windows, and the material looks like it does have some aesthetic quality to it, and does look like it will be a nice looking dealership. There's some pictures of the site here too. This is the letter with the variance request showing that this is what they're asking for. They're also saying that they may use architectural concrete panels for the sides and front in the letter. And this is probably the way to handle this is to vote on this separately from the other two variances in order since it's quite a bit different than the other variance request.
Do we know anything about that siding that they're talking about putting on there? What the average year, how long it'll last?
I don't have any
Does it
information
have to be repainted?
on that. The applicant is here to address that, though.
Stand forward, that just raise your hand, be sworn in, would you please?
Raise your right hand. Swear to promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I do. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Adam Sager with Dale and Associates, 516 Heather Place, Nashville. The direct exterior finished surface, DFIS, is similar to a stucco. I apologize, I'm not a building material expert and not the architect, but they have explained it to me to go on similar to a stucco. The material is slightly more flexible than a stucco in that it does not provide cracking as stucco sometimes does, and that's the advantage that it has over the stucco. It's a material that's very similar, and I've been told from 10, 15 feet away, you really can't tell the difference, even if you knew what both of them were. I heard it's low maintenance, and it lasts as long as a stucco or any of the other ones.
Can I ask you this? Do we have a drawing shows exactly where they're talking about putting, exactly which material in which location?
If you, Grant, if you want to show the picture of the front of the building.
I mean, do we have all four sides?
The overlay goes up, you can see where the blue strip is, it says Nacarado, and then you have that glass rotunda there.
Correct.
And right on the back side, that I guess, what do you call it, parapet wall sticking up in the rear where the building goes higher, that's about the extent of the overlay. So everything up and in front would be on the overlay. And the blue and gray strip along the front, and there's a knee wall, comes up, I guess, about your knee, 20, 30 inches along the bottom. That material right there would be the DFIS material.
Okay. Well, it says on here that it's going to be stone also. Where would a stone be? So it will consist mainly of glass, stone, concrete tilt-up panels, and the DFIS. Where's the stone going to be?
The stone has been proposed along the bottom. That is one where the architect is still looking into proposing stone or the DFIS because instead of breaking it up, they thought of having it would look sharper if it was the same material on bottom and top.
And so from where the wall steps down back at I guess at the bays back there, is all the rest of that be the concrete tilt-up panels?
Yeah, those would be concrete tilt-up panels, the larger area that you see there.
Now, when you say the larger area, you mean
The
to the rear?
area that sits higher behind that rotunda. Yeah, right there where the...
Those are going to be concrete tilt-up panels?
Yes, sir.
Will they be will they match kind of the same color as the rest of the front of the building to match, or will it be
Yes, sir.
completely different?
To my knowledge, it's going to match very well the color of the building. It would be along the same shades and all that.
For my own concern, I'd need more information myself. I mean, that's what I think. I don't think we've got enough information to grant this variance personally. I mean, 'cause I think we need to know exactly what they're talking about putting where, so we'll know exactly what it looks like. That's just from my own standpoint, okay?
Point taken. One of my questions would be the remaining building where the truck loading is, what type of material will that be on the face?
Where the garage doors are?
Yes.
Those are either concrete tilt-up panels or metal.
But the back part does not fall in the overlay.
That's correct. The rear part does not fall in the overlay.
Well, the front part's what you're going to see from the interstate and from the road. That's for sure.
Front and the side.
If I could speak maybe just for a second, I just had one other thing to address. There's two structures actually on the site, and the rear structure, because it falls outside the overlay district, the way the ordinance was passed, it does not fall within the overlay district requirements. So the front structure there, the one you see there, is the one that the overlay district applies to.
Do we know what the back structure is going to be?
It's a
It's a body, service and body shop for the
Is
dealership.
it a metal building?
It would be, I believe, concrete tilt-up and a combination of that and the metal, yes.
Well, I don't know if y'all saw it, we got some
Yeah, we
pictures
did.
in our package here, but
Now, where the truck is, that's gonna be facing the interstate, right?
That's correct. That, right here, the interstate runs Yeah, parallel to the front of that side.
About where the American flag, that's pointing towards the interstate, right?
Yeah, it looks like to be the shadow of that American flag be pointing directly towards the interstate.
How soon do you think it'll be before they get any other renditions of the, drawings of the building with, because, I understand they verbally told you, and you said possibly, you're saying possibly. So when will we be able to see a better picture of the engineer's rendition of what's actually gonna be there?
This is the engineering rendition. It's going to be these colors, that glass, that facade. I'm not sure what other information you would require.
As far as what my colleague there was saying about where's the concrete, where's the defense, and where will it begin, where will it, just a little bit better picture of what.
Where the materials are exactly delineated.
What we're looking at is the mixture of everything that we've said. What we're looking at is actually what we should see.
That's correct. All of the area, that blue ribbon you see above the glass, will all be the defense, and all of the area underneath the glass, they are proposing to do defense, and then the area of gray directly behind that, right there where the pointer is the concrete tilt-up panels.
So actually, the defense is just be under the window and above the windows.
That's correct. It would be the two horizontal strips above and below.
Well,
Just correct me on that, because initially you'd said it was stone on the lower side.
that's what,
They had looked at doing stone when we,
well, that's what the picture shows right here, stone.
right.
That's what the picture shows. I just think it needs to be identified clearly what we're going to use, where we're going to use it. And I think this is pretty vague myself. Just my opinion.
Any other questions or?
Well, I just have I guess a comment on the other side. We spent at the last meeting a great deal of time working on this. Whether it's 24 inches of stone or defense at the bottom, to me doesn't make very much difference. In terms of a building for a car dealership, truck dealership, this, even along the interstate, seems to me to be an attractive building for that use. So I guess that's what I would offer as a way to go on this.
Any other comments?
Only other comment I got is this: if it is decided to approve it like this, how do we determine what is what on this thing? Could they possibly come back and change any of this?
If I may,
I just need to make sure.
Our variance we are requesting is somewhat already specified in the overlay. 80% of the front must be brick, stone, or hard coat stucco. And what we are asking is that part of that 80% be used for the defense. So per this variance request, that 80% to be accounted for, we're only requesting that we be allowed to use the defense material within that 80%.
Well, I apologize. I wasn't at the workshop, so I wasn't privy to the information y'all had. So.
Just a question, just at the moment, the way it's laid out, obviously a lot of questions. This is the first time we've been looking at this variance, so I want to set a precedent to make sure we know where we stand, and I understand Mr. Parker's comments of where things are. Would it be then your proposal to, on the building, obviously where the blue is, that with the defense, correct? The windows, the lower, below the windows, you're identifying a letter as saying stone. So would that be acceptable to move in that forward with those identifications of those will be accepted if it was accepted for those materials? In other words, we don't want any changes. That's the concern.
Okay. Then I guess for the sake of allowing our design architect the options, we we came before the board requesting that the DFIS be allowed to be used in that 80%. And if it is used on the horizontal strip above and below, we would like them to have that option. And they also may use stone underneath, as already is allowed within the overlay. So I'm not sure if that answers your question. If the variance is requested, we would like the option to be allowed to use DFIS along the bottom part of it. And the architect said to keep with the aesthetics, continuing the aesthetics of the building.
Back there past the rotunda, where it makes that, no, the other way, down,
Yes, sir.
on the bottom. See where the concrete, where the stones are on the bottom?
Mm-hmm.
What, they stop right there at those 3 windows, right there. But your windows keep going all the way back to the white car.
Yes, sir.
You're not gonna have concrete along that?
That will be the DFIS material. That will be a continuation of that front,
Of the stone?
of the DFIS or stone, whatever they.
Where does the overlay stop on that building? Does it stop right there?
Grant, if you could go to the next picture, I believe it might help us with that side of the building. It might be one more past that. Okay. The rotunda right there is about where it stops.
Okay.
So everything to the left of that rotunda is outside of the overlay. But in order to continue the facade of the building, to keep it an attractive building front, they would continue that look along through. That would be, I believe, the parts area where people would enter for their parts.
Can you back up one picture there, maybe? Okay. Now, back up one more picture, if you don't mind. If you're standing in front of the building, out in front of the white truck looking at it, the right-hand side, what will it be down the right-hand side? We don't have a,
It's the same thing.
Same thing down that
all
side?
the way
Okay.
across and then around the
Okay.
building.
okay.
Right, so-
How far down is it the same? Just down to where the wall steps up?
It would turn the corner, and I believe the windows are similar to the parts department. I don't know if they go from floor to ceiling windows. I think they shorten up a bit as you turn the corner.
Yeah, it looks
but
like
it's still
it-
the
yeah.
same look
Okay.
as you go
It
back
looks
to
like
that
it shortens
wall.
on that corner right just past the truck there a little
Right.
bit. So I was just trying to get a clear picture in my mind about it. Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? With this, with the three, we'll take these one at a time, nice and slowly, so we'll just do one at a time and then pursue ahead from there. So, and then if you would, on any recommendation, let's refer to their letter dated June the 8th, because that way we know what we're saying yes or nay for. So with that, I'll accept a motion one way or the other for the building material variance.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the material variance as stated.
The motion, do you have a second?
Second.
Do you have anyone from the public like to speak on this matter? With that, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so let's move on to the second one on our business. It shows underground electric. Mr. Green.
Yes, sir. The next variance is a request to obtain the variance from the underground utility requirement for the primary overhead lines along the main road. What this is essentially what they've stated is they plan to use underground electric on the secondary lines to service the site. However, the cost of the overhead lines to place those underground, they've stated it's a bit cost prohibitive, and I believe that the estimates that they've received from Middle Tennessee Electric were approximately 20 times more to put the underground utilities in as opposed to the overhead, as you see here. If you look, these overhead lines, this is from the apartment complex, and then the temporary truck sales site there at the end of New Paul Road. These are the overhead lines here. They have the Cobra headlights there, and what they're asking to do is just extend that along the proposed road, and in order to do so, they would have to have a variance from the requirements of the overlay district.
We spoke in the workshop about the underground lighting, and it was something about if they went with the underground lighting that had to go underground and then go up each pole. Since the overhead is already stopped right there at the apartment complex. It was something said in the workshop about that.
I think, Dennis, we also, I mean, I don't know if this is exactly what you're talking about, but we also discussed the fact that it wouldn't be cost effective, or it wouldn't really make any feasible sense, because wasn't it true that if it were to go out, and depending on what you get in that area back there, they couldn't upgrade it. Undergrounds couldn't be upgraded like the overhead.
Yes, that's correct.
I mean, that's another, I'm not sure what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I knew
That
something
was the
like
main
that.
thing that I can remember that would
All the underground would have to be put in at one time, right?
Yes, we were told by Middle Tennessee that if you put in underground electric for only those properties you're going to serve, and if anything came in on the tail end, they would not be able to upgrade the underground electric. They would then have to install an entire new underground system for the electric. So when they will install it, they will act like everything has been built out, predict that everything is getting the most wattage, and you would have to then install basically the high-grade, top-of-the-line, biggest line that they have for underground, which would drive up the cost significantly.
So on your plat, can we just identify where, to what point the last pole will go, just so you have an idea? Is that something you can look at on your plat there?
Yes, I have the plat in front of me. The last electric would be installed along up into the cul-de-sac.
So up to the cul-de-sac, and then all the other electrical attachments to the lot would be underground.
That's correct.
I think it probably also should be noted, if the street lights are required at the planning commission level, this is something that's kind of probably a hand-in-hand type issue. If the variance is granted, then it would be very likely that the Cobra head lights would probably be the best option for that, since there are already poles there. It kind of contradict to have the street lights and then the overhead utilities. So I just wanted to mention that and make note of that.
So what we're asking for is just the primary line from where it attaches right there to apartments to the cul-de-sac. From those poles, anything else that's fed will be fed underneath. Is that correct?
That's correct. The primary in the streets would be overhead, and then each secondary line to each lot
Okay.
would be underground.
Even if this big lot back here was subdivided, you wouldn't want to be running overhead back to it, right?
As the overlay states, they would be required to do underground along that first 300 foot, and it would be within your power to make them uphold that underground to there.
So all we would be approving tonight, if we approved it, was just the one along the road, and that's all.
Yes, sir.
That wouldn't affect anything in the future.
Correct.
Okay. I'll make sure.
Does that also include the telephone lines and the internet, T1 lines? Does that also include there? How's that going to work?
They usually attach to those
That's-
poles right there.
Yeah,
Now,
that's-
I would say all of the auxiliary lines should be underground as well from the primary pole.
Yes, sir. The ordinance states that all utilities should be placed underground.
Any other questions or comments? Then I'll accept a motion, one way or the other, for the acceptance of the variance for the underground utility electric up into the cul-de-sac as listed in the final plat.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we grant the variance for the underground electrical variance up to the specific area mentioned.
Motion, do I have a second?
I second.
Anyone from the public like to speak on this matter? Don't take a vote. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Variance carries. The third item is street trees variance. Great.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. This is also another variance request from the overlay district. This is street tree requirement However, the way our ordinance reads is the planning commission staff also has the ability to determine where the location of the landscaping. So this is basically just to ensure that what they're wanting to do with this site is will be granted. Just ensure that is put in place. Essentially, what they're asking here is because of the visibility issues with street trees along the roadway, that would cause a significant hardship for their use or intended use as a truck dealership. And I think that would be detrimental to the outside display of the trucks. So this is something I think it would be a reasonable request.
I suppose one of my first comments would be, understand the tree, but also they could substitute it for other shrubbery, could they not?
Yes, sir. They have placed shrubbery as we have our parking lot requirements that require that. I actually don't think we have the landscape plan on here, but they do have shrubbery placed along this frontage here as required by our zoning ordinance. And then they've also added some understory trees, some crepe myrtles around the building as we requested at the Planning Commission workshop. And their per acre requirement is mainly met in the rear and side here of the lot.
Comments or questions from the board? Now we'll accept the motion one way or the other to accept the variance, the street trees variance.
I make a motion for, that we that we grant the street tree variance for, staff's acceptance of the, design presented.
Okay, with that, do we have a second?
A second.
We have a second. Anyone from the public like to speak on this matter? With that, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 2, front setback variance from the existing home in a proposed re-subdivision property located at 102 Taylor Drive and 143 Rose Street. Tax map 18H, Group B, parcels 32, 31. Current zoning R1, property owned by Martha Mankin, Charles Caffey, and Richard Caffey. Mr. Green.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. This is a request from the plat, the plat that was submitted. Essentially, what they're asking to do is there's currently a front setback requirement for all corner lots, and at the time of this subdivision, that was not a requirement. Basically, with this being Eastwood subdivision, a lot of the corner lots there do not, don't adhere to that setback requirement along both road frontages on the corner lots. And this is just a variance to reduce the front setback along Rose Street from 40 feet to 25 feet to accommodate the existing house located here. And I have some pictures here that the zoning map. It's R1, and this is the area of the setback request, or the variance request for setback. There's pictures of the house. There's the side facing Rose Street. We've had this issue quite a bit in Eastwood with re-subdivisions, so this is a similar request.
Questions or comments from the board?
I got one, just out of curiosity. I mean, I vaguely, did we ever talk about this at the workshop?
Briefly, I think this was.
Because the question would be, why? I mean, I don't understand why they have to do it if it wasn't required.
Well, they splitting. Well, they're not splitting the lot, but they are,
Yes, sir.
they're taking some away from it.
Yeah, they were actually moving the lot lines as part of this proposed subdivision. That'll be on the planning commission agenda in at the later meeting. But basically, they're moving this lot line, or requesting to move this lot line from this location to here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
I saw it
floodplain.
from- Okay, yeah, we did, yeah, okay.
And with the re-subdivision, that the variance will be required under
Okay,
current
yeah,
requirements.
I didn't see the picture of it, we didn't have, well, I guess we don't have those pictures at the workshop, I remember that, yes.
Any other comments from the board? With that, I'll accept the motion for a front setback variance.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve
We have a
the
motion.
setback variance as submitted.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second. Anyone from the public like to speak on this matter? All that, those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Any other questions or comments from this board? But my comment would be to staff, would understand this is the first time we had a variance on this South Walden overlay, but I think with the questions this evening, I would charge the staff to ensure next time that the applicant brings as much detail to this board as much as possible, because the questions that were given were some good questions, but I think more detail is required for this board to make a good decision this evening.
Yes, sir.
That will cause motion. Happy birthday, Dennis.
Thank you.
Righty.